Hello, how are you this morning? Hi, my queens. How are you doing? Hi, my sisters. I love for you. A deep love. Hi, Together Women. Hi, Tomorrow Women. Hi to all the recovering addicts all over the world. Wow, doesn't it feel good to challenge yourself and win at the same time? It's awesome. Wow. Look, hi, patience. Oh my goodness. Hi, power. Hi, powerful. Hello. Hi, calm. Hi, peace. Hi, peace within. Hi, peace of mind. Hello. Hi, surely goodness and mercy. As you do know, Jesus is in the building and you can feel him in the atmosphere. Yes, he here. Hi, Essence. How are you doing? Oh my God. Hello to all the Miss Do Betters. Hello to my sobriety police. I like to thank the sobriety police for going in and tapping into the love, selfless love that they have to share. Um, with our sisters and the commitment to helping recovering addicts come out of the storm. Our job, we work for the Lord, and our job is so important to him. And how we get our promotions and raises is how he improved our life and our lifestyle, how he prolongs our endurance for us to be durable, and I thank God for that. And I'd like to say hello to Durable. How are you? Hi, Smart with Brilliance. And first off, with wisdom. Hi, wisdom and knowledge, strength and courage. How are you doing today, Peacemaker? All right. I love peacemakers because the peacemakers are our sons and daughters, as we all are. But when you are a peacemaker, he that is in you is greater than he that is in the world because Jesus is the Prince of Peace. Okay. So that's a message out to all those to people who like to just, you know, don't have peace within. And it's not a normal day for them if they're not doing something disruptive or or something that's just not peaceful, something chaotic, something not right, to feel good about themselves. When you have peace within, he that is in you, that is greater than he in the world, will rule over your peace. It will rule over your peace. That's a message, okay? Please take it in as a lesson and not nothing offensive, okay? Um, tender loving carrots here as well. Yes, they are. How are you? Hi, experience. How are you doing? Yes, I love you so much. I wanted to know if you all out there in podcast land can resonate with today's topic, today's lesson, okay? Because it is so important to know the history. As Black people, we need to know the history, and it's important that each one of us teach all of us, basically, not just each one teach one, but if that's all you can do, because you're not able to reach everyone else. And my mother used to tell me this, that you could take a bag of sugar and sweeten the front of the beach shoreline right there. You can put a lot of sugar there along the line of the front, but every inch of what's behind that water, all that darkness out there, it will never get sweetened by that bag of sugar. But at least you can reach some. And if you can only reach one, that's still magnificent. It is awesome and it is great because I'm going to let you know this here. People who can be corrected are blessed. Okay? If you can be corrected, you are blessed. And people who are corrected are blessed people. So we are some blessed people who have been corrected by the Lord. Okay? We are blessed. Don't you ever think You're not blessed. When you look at your past and look at all your trying times and tribulations that you have been through, those were tests to build you to be the strong individual that you are. Now, I want you to take that right there and look at it, okay? Look at the history of your own life and how you learn from the mistakes that you made. Okay. Now I want you to realize and think about how important Black history is to the new generation of Black children growing up so they can stand for something. Okay. That's one reason at the top of my priority list of having a Black history class is for our children to stand for something and not fall for anything, not to accept an unjust by anyone, no anyone, not just a certain race of people, by any race of people. They have got to know how many years our people were in captivity. They have got to know that before we were here in America, that there were kings and queens that had villages. And in that village were warriors and just regular everyday people that roam around in a kingdom, but they were under order and respected the king and the queen. They respected him. So that's how you can tell about a place or town or area in a town that has no rule in it. It becomes unruly. And the ones who are supposed to keep it ruly are not doing their jobs, because if it's there and you're supposed to be of some sort of authority and you're supposed to rule and keep the peace, why isn't it done? Okay. Now that's a part of knowing your history, to stand for something, not fall for anything, to embrace and keep it, keep and embrace knowledge, because to have knowledge is to be blessed. Because when you have knowledge, that means you are knowing, and no one can come across your doorstep, okay, and you not know right from wrong within that person, in that area, or in that town. Do you understand, parents? Uh, the history, talk to you, Black parents. Our history is important. Um, we have got to install in our children at very young ages, because once they get to a certain age in their lives, if they have not been taught right, it will show. It will show in their obedience. So we cannot just keep going on. Sit with your children, talk with them, tell them about Black history right now while they are little kids, because they can be bended and shaped into what we want them to be. Once they become that hard tree, they have to be chopped down. Okay? And that's the law having to tame them, having to put them in places to correct them. And that to some becomes a revolving door, because they go in and out, and never learn not to come back. So right now, while our children are very small, teach them about our history until we get a Black history class that we, as Black parents and Black people across the world, grandparents, aunties, uncles, cousins, big cousins, we have to stand for this Black history class, because so much has been going on. And if you don't want a certain image to be thrown at you, that you're this, you're animal or criminal or whatever, then someone has to change somewhere. Change has got to come, because if it doesn't come, things will remain the same. They will remain the same. So having us stand, and I'm gonna extend my hand out to all of the famous Black people who have clout in the industry and who performed for the president, and a lot of you who are just CEOs of companies and builders. We need to build our children to be stronger and have great standards in life. We need Black history class so they'll know what our people went through in those days. And even when our ancestors, were freed and set free, there were still conditions that bad terms and bad times they went through in those days of being lynched, being harmed, not being able to rest in their homes because they were kept up all night with racism, burning cross on lawns. In Alabama, four little Black girls got blew up in a church. This is so. This is the month, June, for Juneteenth, which is June 19th, is when our ancestors were set free. But they have to know that 2 years before that time, we were set free. 2 years before then, Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. 2 whole years. So what Black history will teach our children is the delay because of the fear that when our people were let go, that they will retaliate, and they did not do that. And because of that, and they showed humbleness, that they were humble, they still were taken advantage of and judged because they came from slavery. And that was all they knew. But now that we have been taught more, not in a class, but through Hollywood, independent Black filmmakers making movies and telling and showing us and our children the accomplishments that we went through, things that I have never known before. I'm just finding out about a lot of people that I never had been taught about in school. Just the three main ones: Malcolm, Martin, and Harriet. That was it. I knew nothing of Robert F. Williams and his wife, Mabel Williams, Mrs. Mabel Williams. I knew nothing of them. Shirley Chisholm. I didn't know that. That's encouragement for little Black girls, the Black women that helped NASA get off the ground and how they were treated. I'm just finding these things out. And I'm 51 years old. Don't you know, if I knew about the strength of Black women, that I would have furthered my life and my education? I wouldn't have been easily coaxed into doing any kind of demon abusive substance. I would have knew right from wrong. And I would have knew what was happening to me as a child was wrong. I did not know that as a child. But as I grew up and I saw adult things between adults, I knew that adults were not supposed to do that to children. Knowledge is power, and knowledge is a blessing. Whether you're looking at it that way or not, knowledge is a blessing. Our children need that class, people. We got to fight for it, please. If we can stand together and just set aside all the nonsense and things that don't really matter and focus on what matters. Because slowly but surely, things that we depended on and relied on are being taken from us. Job poor, the threat of public school funding, our SSI for our grandparents and people who need it at a young age. We need to know how to present this. So what I do is I teach my two granddaughters. Well, one is too young to really understand, But my granddaughter that's here with me, she's 5 years old. Teach them how to pronounce their words right. Do not accept eubonics or ebonics or whatever that is, broken language. Teach them the history of the Black woman. If you have daughters, teach them the history of the Black men if you have sons. And if you have both, please teach your children, teach your grandkids, teach them so that they don't get swallowed up in the world today and in the system today. It is a necessity that this has been needed for so many years, centuries. It is important. And I hope that someone or some people are listening to this, the importance of it. Because when you get down to the nitty gritty and you start to look at the treatment of Black people by Black people, there you will find racism and prejudice. You will find racial slurs as well. You will find that instead of talking it out, that some of us will fight about it and it'll keep going back and forth and back and forth. And then mistaken identities come to play. And little children get hurt because their mom and dad car look like a rival car. We're all Black. And I like to extend to the upper class African American people out there who are very prominent, and you see as well what's happening, to help me. Let's get this thing started. Yeah, they gave us a Martin Luther King streets all over, bridges, Malcolm X College, centers all over the world. We have those. But what about our history of that man, of that woman? The history has got to be taught to our children. They need this. It is very important that they see this. Tell your children, yeah, I'm your grandmother, but my mother is your great grandmother. And tell them the names. Tell them the names of their great great grandmother and their great 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 grandmother. Tell them there are lots of people of our race who don't know those names, who don't know even their own family bloodline history. They need to be taught these things so that they can up their standards, be able to be reasoned with. They don't fall for anything, that they'll be level headed, that they will appreciate education, that they will appreciate each other. Because there was a time when Black people stood together and stood for something. There was no discrimination against our own. Over time, that has happened. Over time, these things have taken shape in our lives. And I am one, and I'm calling out to many to please hear and understand we cannot go for anything from anyone, even in our own race. As I look at these different shows, podcasts as well, they like to show racism against us by other races. But no one ever talks about the Black on Black crime and why the Black on Black crime it is. No one talks about the 80s when crack cocaine ruled the Black communities. No one talks about who was responsible and why poverty was such a big issue in those days and why crime came about in the Black communities. No one speaks on that. It's always put away, put to the side, a blind eye turned to what is right and what is real. I will not be accused for being right, knowing that I'm right. I will not be accused for being wrong. I wanted to recap that. I will not be accused for being wrong when I am right. I will not turn a blind eye to this situation because it is something that needs to be discussed. It is something that is in itself disgusting and worth discussing. So that's what we got to do. All of the prominent Black people, the Black judges, you face discrimination, but still we're not signing a petition for a Black history class. Why is that? This is the month of Juneteenth. I decorate my house with African colors. I decorate my house in remembrance of my ancestors, where my people came from. I decorate my life with the memory of them. It is time that we pay attention to what's going on. I am a voice calling out from the wilderness to my people. There was a song called Lift Every Voice that meant for us to speak out against unjust and injustice. They need to know that right there in the Hall of Fame, there sits 4 stools where Black people sat in a restaurant and demanded service and to be treated equally. They need to know these things so they can appreciate what we have and act with high standards. Being judged by the color of their skin and not by their character was a big issue. And Dr. King spoke on that. So now, you know that still happens, right? Do you know that when you downrate Black women, Black men out there who do this, that every Black woman around the world suffers for that? The ones in the inner city, middle class Black females as well, and on the upper class level, because they don't see our character. Everyone makes mistakes. But if you can't bounce back, then that means you are weak. You are. If you don't want to be changed, that is your problem that you have to deal with on your own time. Stop getting in the way of us who embrace change, who love change. When you read your Bibles and you're talking about us, because we are the original people, right? I hear a lot of Black people saying that. I do. I see it on television. I do. And I can see how our heritage and the ways that we have are copied. It is not cool not to know your history and to mistreat your people and not to realize that you are the problem and you won't correct it. Again, I tell you, people who are corrected by the Lord are blessed. People who can be corrected are blessed. So if I offer you a pill, 2 pills, one of these pills is going to enlighten you and tell you who you are, where you come from, and your history. It will all hit you at one time. And the promise of taking this pill will free you up from ignorance. It will free you up from having a violent mind, dealing with issues that can be talked about in a violent way between your own people. And I offer you this. And then I tell you the other pill will keep you blinded and you will not know who you are. You'll remain who you are right now. And if you like who you are right now, then don't take this other one because this one will change you for the better. That one will keep you in ignorance and you will not know how valuable you really are. Which one would you take? Which one? Knowledge is a blessing. Anyone with me? Who's coming with me on this crusade? Powerful crusade. I can look back in time and I can look at footage of the impact and power, positive power, that our slain Black leaders stood for. Yes, go through the footage. Take a look in history with your children because the children can be reached. Yes, they can. Teach them. Teach others that aren't related to you. I love the Good Samaritan. I love the Good Samaritan because when you're thinking that you can only trust your people and they do you wrong and you meet a Samaritan, a Good Samaritan, and they treat you with respect and help you and lend a helping hand that doesn't hide deceit within it, a knife in it to stab you in your back as soon as you turn. If we can get together and get a Black History class started, that would be awesome. If you could learn the strength of our people and the reasons why we are so durable and the skills that we have, you would understand who you are more. You will understand that there's better in you. You will understand what a weak mind is. You'll understand why it's so easy for you to be persuaded against your people, by your people. I encourage you to watch these movies with your children. Watch Tales from the Hood. It's educational. It's not just a movie. When the Wayans put together that comedy skit about drinking a 40 in the hood and don't be a menace, it is educational. But you know what they did? They did something. They put it into comedy because that was the only way they could reach you. They know. They know. They know, like I know, that that would be the only way that they could reach you is to put it in comedy. But everything that they said in that movie was on point. On point. And you loved it because it was funny. I loved it because it was education. I watched it for that reason. It teaches history. It teaches about the modern day. If there is no king in the kingdom, the people will have no rules to follow. So when you have a high profile area in your city, question the authorities. Question that. You're supposed to. That's what Black history teaches us, to pay attention to injustice. Pay attention to a slap on the hand and why you only got that slap on the hand. To keep it going. That's why. Pay attention to what you're doing. Don't be so easily coaxed into bullcrap against your own, by your own. People like me, we do not want to hurt our people. We do not want to take their life. But in these type of areas where high crime is, and there is no authority protection, and everyone just getting a slap on the hand, we have to protect ourselves because we're different. We're not hoopling and hollering and staying up all night and throwing their head back doing nonsense. That's not a judgment call. That is observation. That is the difference. It is what is shown. All the politicians that are Black, local politicians that are Black. This is a necessity. It is. You know, a lot of people want to be supported, but they don't want to show the right kind of support. You want me to support you because you put on blast about racism towards Black. So can you support me and help me fight for a Black history class? Because if it's not here, if it's never discussed, it'll keep happening. Black women coming home from work at 3 a.m. in the morning will be hurt. Her car probably was broke down, but she was a nurse. Someone took her life because they done saw plenty of rap videos, heard plenty of Black men putting down Black women. So he thought that's what he could do to her. He thought that he could take advantage of her because she was alone and she was by herself. Miss Davis did not deserve that. Miss Jenkins did not deserve that. We have got to stand for something, or else this will continue. It will. I will not be faulted because I am right. And I am not looking for neighborhood approval. No. My mind is bigger than that. My God is bigger than that. My steps are bigger than that. My purpose is bigger than that. My issue with this problem is bigger than the problem. Get it together. Because as I sit and reminisce about a long time ago, when Black people, our people, couldn't go to the corner store, we all stood together because we all lacked. We all had that big fat monkey on our backs. No this, no that. Step back if you were Black. Then our Black leaders came and changed all that. But it seems like over time, Black folks done lost their mind. Then hatred slid on in and brought Black crime. Oh, I'm ashamed to say, yes, even here today, our Black leaders lost their lives For us to act this way, we treat each other bad. We make each other mad. We kill each other dead over what someone said. How will we ever change if we remain the same? We need to stop. Stop black on black crime. Stop racism against your own people. Injustice against your own people. Stop turning a blind eye because you want to fit into the nonsense. Stop it. How will we ever change if we remain the same? We letting our prize drop. This here, we must stop. Stop black on black crime. Stop it. If our ancestors can speak, they will say, we have watched from the heavens long enough. And this behavior, we are not going to have it. They will say, you need to straighten up and fly right. If our ancestors could physically speak, but guess what? They do. They speak in our history. They telling you what's going on. Pay attention. This has been Denise Jenkins with another edition of PLM, People Like Me. I am my sister's keeper. Therefore, I shall keep my sisters away from harm. I shall give them love. I shall give them support. I shall represent them in the best way. Please like, subscribe, send your comments, and share Our Father's podcast, PLM, People Like Me, with Denise Jenkins. Peace out. Coco.